Hello everyone and welcome to the first ever video on my channel. In this video I'm going to be showcasing a Python logger module that I've created from scratch. It's very basic, but it does the trick. It file logs, console logs, and database logs. I plan to make it multi-threaded. It's currently OOP based. I want to make it procedural based as well. I also want to have the ability to go logging to MySQL, MongoDB, that kind of stuff. Even add custom log types, but for now it is basic. But I want to show you what I've built. So let's jump right in. So we just have two files here, the logger.py, which is the actual module, and then the main.py. The main.py is just what we use to actually import the logger module and use it, right? So it's just for us for testing while we're creating it so that we can see how it works and make sure it's all working, everything like that, right? So it's very important for development usability, right? So I'm having a few issues with my IDE. I don't know what's going on here. But I have debug and production. Ignore this one. I don't have for testing. I can actually delete that. It's fine. So I'm going to go to debug. I can go to production as well. I'm going to go back to debug. And it's not letting me debug it. Fantastic. Okay. Let's edit it and see what's going on. So that's fine. Let's run it. No? Let's just debug it then, right? Using the debugger up here. Because apparently my IDE doesn't want to work. Anyways, so ignore this up here, okay? This is just an IDE thing that is just not working properly. Not worried about that. This is the logger here, right? So in the main file, this is how we actually use it. We just do log.trace, set log, level, all this stuff, right? And I will show you that in a little bit. So what do we have? What do we have here? We have an error. We have a fatal. We have a warning, success, info, debug, and trace. Now, here's the interesting thing. This format is very interesting. You know why? We have here the logger name. So we can actually create separate different loggers. For example, my logger and logger2. And these are like a way to categorize your different loggers that you're going to potentially need. It's not always useful, but in some projects you do kind of want something like that. So I implemented it just in case. We then have the date and time that the log actually took place. Then we have the little header, which is just whether it's an error, warning, success, info, debug, or trace, or fatal. With debug and trace, we'll kind of look at those a little bit later, so they're going to be something interesting with those that happens. But with these, it's just pretty much, very simple, just little log messages. And the best part about it, which is what I really enjoy, is that we can actually create these log messages. For example, if you take a look at this success message with the number 6 there, if we go here, we can actually look at this here. We have %6, %d. So I really want this format when we're actually logging messages is to have like a %d and then just have something here like that to add parameters and different variables inside of our logs. I wanted an easy way to do it like that. So I implemented it. Fortunately, in Python, this is kind of standard. So it just works straight out of the box, right? I didn't have to do any setup or anything like that, really. It just worked, which is fantastic. I'm really happy with that. So we can do that with any of these, really. With debug and trace, the code behind this actually makes it so that it only works when we're in debug here. If we actually switch to production, okay, and we run it, you can see that we don't get any debug or trace messages. Pretty cool, right? Because we don't really want to see that kind of stuff. Another thing is here, we have toggle file login to true and toggle db login to true. So we can actually turn this on and off depending on what we want, right? So in our logs here, we have all the log files and we have our logs.db, which is the database, which is just SQLite, right? It's just SQLite. Maybe I'll add an implementation later on for something like MySQL, MongoDB, that kind of thing. For now, it's literally just simply SQLite. So where is it? Let's have a look. Here we go. So we have log level low here, right? And let's say we have a look at that. So this is going to be for here, yeah. So this here is log level low. It just shows fatal and error messages, okay? We have low, medium, high, and all. All means literally every log message we want. High means everything except for info, I think. Medium is everything except for info and success, I think. And low is everything except for these three here. So it just shows error and fatal. I can actually show you that by changing this to medium. And if I just run it in debug mode, nope, I can't. I'll just keep it in production for now. as you can see here, here, we get fatal error warning. Now, if we change this to high, we should get success as well. And as you can see, we get success as well. And if we change it to all, then we get everything except for debug and trace. Now, debug and trace does work differently. No matter what happens, debug and trace will not run in production mode. That is very important. We don't want that. We don't want debug and trace. It can often give information about our program that we do not want anyone else to know in production mode. It could be some, secrets of our algorithm, how our algorithm works, or anything like that could cause a security risk. Now, it's fine for open source code because it doesn't really make any difference, but at the same time, with open source code, although everyone can see the source code, you still don't want to have debug and trace kind of in there because it takes away from the user experience when they're using it. Oh no, I've got a debug message showing up. Why do I care about that? Who cares? Well, it just clogs up their program, right? Now, it depends how they're programmed. So if it runs in a console like this, yeah, it's a bit of an issue. If it runs in a console, but the app is a GUI and the console is hidden, it doesn't really make too much of a difference, but it does add overhead. Here's the thing. Debug and trace in production adds overhead. If you have a lot of debug and trace messages and you've got it in production enabled, well, you're about to give the user a slower experience because it has to take time to put those debug messages in. Now, for debug mode, that's absolutely fine, right? So let's kind of take a look at the production, at the at the debug version, okay? So if we see, we get debug and trace messages right here. We can change this to whatever we want, okay? It'll still show debug and trace. The reason for that, so that's this here, right? Based on this log level, okay? And we don't change the log level again, so it does the same here. Nope, it doesn't do the same here because this is a second logger. Yeah, so it's, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, basically here we've created a second logger. So this here only affects the first logger because that is what the instance is. If we look here, log equals logger, my logger. And then that just affects that. And then we create another logger here. That's just all of this. So it doesn't affect it because we haven't changed the log level on this one, only this code here. So only some of these will print based on the log level. But the debug and trace will always print in debug mode, but in production mode, it will never print, which is fantastic. So great, fantastic. What else? Well, this is the really good part. We don't have to just log it to the console because, as we know, when we log to a console, it just deletes afterwards, right? So it's great for testing, great for small little things. But what if we want to create logs that get saved? Well, what we can do is every time we run the program, and this is set to true, it'll create a new log file with the date and time. But it's every time we run. So it's based on runtime instance. So every time we run this, we should get a new log file. If I actually delete them, or just some of them. Actually, no, I don't want to delete them, so I want to show you. It's not working. Fantastic. Okay, well, I think it is working. It's just being annoying. You know what? Let's delete them because I'm worried it's not working now. Let's have a look. Let's run it. It is working. It just took a while to update. So yeah, these are all the logs that just didn't go through or update on the UI. So it was just an IDE issue, not this. So yeah, the logs are simple, right? It just does the exact same thing as here, just without the colors, because it can't really do the colors. But yeah, so it just does that. That's fantastic. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned is with trace, we get this file path thing here. So as you can see down here, we get file path and then the file path to the file of where the trace message was actually called. So where we actually do log.trace. And then the line number also, which is pretty good, 32. So main.py line 32, if we go to main.py and line 32, which is here, it's this here, okay? So that's where that happens. And then just the message, which is test trace message login to console, and we can check it here. Same thing here, right? That's line 23, this line 23 as well. But look, we don't have mylogger2 in here. We only have mylogger. Why is that? What if we look at this main file and we go up here? We've just got log.set toggle file underscore logging, log.set toggle underscore db underscore logging. Well, that's because we're not actually doing this for this, but we can. So if we just take this one, for example, and just pop it down here, and we just set it to log2, and we run it, we will get another file and it will do the same thing. Logger 2, just like that. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, fantastic. So that's file logging. We can do file logging. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We can, I believe, also set the path for the file log as well. I can't remember. I can't exactly remember now what the function is for it, but I know we can do it. I think it's something like log.set toggle file. Oh, set file path. Is it set file path? Yeah, set file path. And we can actually set the file path. I'm not going to do that right now because I want to keep it as logs. So yeah, we can do that as well. We can set the different file path. I don't think we can do it for db log.set_db. No, we can just set whether or not to toggle the database logging, but we can't actually set the database file path. So it'll always be in this logs folder here. And with logs here, we can actually open that up. I have DataGrip here, which will open that up for us. And if we take a look, we just open up logs here, get it. Oh, great. Change credentials. Okay, it's all broken. Okay, let me delete it then. Let's just add a new one. Data source, SQLite. We'll call it logs. And we will select the file, which is going to be logger logs.db. Apply. Okay, let's open that up. Let's go logs. There we go. We get all our logs in here, right? So these are all of our logs that we've ever logged. Now we do get... Oh, I've just noticed a bug with this. I didn't actually realize. I haven't got anywhere, right? I've not got anywhere a way to determine what the logger is. So is it my logger? Is it logger 2? Like, what's the actual logger name? I haven't got that in here. That is something I need to actually do. So I'm going to make a note of that because I apparently made a mistake with that. Okay, awesome. So that's something I'm going to fix ready for when I actually do a tutorial on this entire system. So yeah, that's pretty much everything, right? It's the logger, it's a database logger, file logger, and console logger. It's very simple, very basic, but I do plan to add multi-threading. I plan to add the ability to go to MySQL and MongoDB logging. I plan to add a bunch of different things, even a way to add custom log messages. So for example, you can create your own custom, say fatal. Say you want to add some, say we didn't include error in our log messages. Now that'd be crazy, right? We could just add that as a custom option. So a custom log type, that's it, log type. Things like that as well, I want to add. So with this, yeah, this is pretty much the logger. It logs to an SQLite database, a file, and a console. I'm very happy with it. And I'm very excited to say that if you would like to use this, it will be available on GitHub, open source license. Yeah, so you can just use it however you want. I will say, before I upload it to Git, I will make sure that I fix that issue where it doesn't add this part here, like this green stuff, into the database. I will fix that because that is an oversight by me, my bad. It will have debug and production mode. So if we kind of take a look at this edit configuration, we just have debug equals 0, production equals 1. I could probably just do build type equals debug or build type equals production, but I just did it this way. I'll probably change it in the future or something. I'm not sure. I don't really care. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, this will work in any project you want. This will be fantastic. I am super excited because I plan to make this a very robust logger because I'm always terrible when it comes to logging messages in my code. So I really want something that I can use and love to use, you know, something simple as well. This is an OOP version, by the way. I'm not showing the logger.py code, although I could in this video, just because it's not really about the code. It's more about just showcasing it. So that will be more the source code will be in the GitHub anyways, if you want to take a look at that. There'll be multiple branches. There will be the production branch, the dev branch, and there will also be another branch which will be basically kind of source branch, which is just where you can download the entire source code like I have it here. So if you want to just make edits to it or change it. The dev branch will just be so that you can kind of take the development version of it, and then the production will be the production version where you can just download the production branch, and it'll literally just give you the logger.py file as the module, basically. The development branch will just be, you know, maybe development and source branch is the same thing then. Yeah, something like that. I'll think about it, but yeah. As for that, this is the simple logger. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. It is an OOP, object-oriented programming. I do want to create a procedural version as well, which I will do, and that will also be available on GitHub. Once I do that, I will probably release another video about that. With that said, it is the end of the video, so I hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something, and I will see you next time. Bye!